It has only been a handful of days since I first started my foray, and I am already enraptured by Clair Obscur Expedition 33. From its quirky yet surprisingly artsy landscapes, refreshingly unique enemy designs, its flawed but endearing cast of characters, and perhaps most importantly, its bold and fresh, genre-bending gameplay to a time-worn staple, the turn-based RPG. Now, this is not the first time we've seen action elements in a turn-based JRPG by any means, but Expedition 33's take on this is, quite frankly, phenomenal. While there are many things to be praised in this game, in this video I will be focusing primarily on the core gameplay itself. As a disclaimer, I'm going to attempt to avoid important story spoilers. The game is still very new and many of us are still working through the main story. So instead, I want to focus on the core gameplay elements and the general game experience. In particular, the game design philosophies of Expedition 33's character design, and how this works to create something truly unique. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not the biggest fan of JRPGs. And while I have come around to a handful of them over the years, I never grew up playing older Final Fantasy games, and I've struggled with my playthroughs of games like Persona 3 and Persona 4. Despite enjoying the story and narrative of these games, the actual gameplay of them has almost always felt so dry to me. Character variety is somewhat limited aside from occasional class gimmicks, and while this can vary from game to game, in many cases characters level up on a fixed path, gaining small amounts of stats and the occasional special attack on level up, with very little player choice to speak of. Gear and equipment is almost always just as bland, with the majority of gear only ever giving increases to your base attributes. Maybe a little max HP here, extra attack power there. At its worst, it can feel about as bare bones as playing a stock RPG Maker project. And thus, enter Clair Obscur Expedition 33, where each unique party member is defined by their own character-specific gimmick, some of which are complex, some are quite nuanced, and undoubtedly, not every player is going to enjoy or even fully understand every character they can choose to play as. Many modern games nowadays strive for simplicity and streamlined design, prioritizing accessibility and clarity in character gameplay and design. Expedition 33 does not concern itself with this. This game is not afraid of the player misunderstanding or misusing one of its characters. It is not afraid of designing characters and abilities with complex or unorthodox playstyles. And even more importantly, it proves that you can accomplish this depth without sacrificing accessibility. That yes, players can enjoy playing complex characters without needing to fully understand them or optimize them. To accomplish this, Expedition 33 boasts a wide set of universal mechanics to complement each character's uniqueness. Things like dodging, parrying, basic attacks, and items that work much the same for every character. While many of these mechanics are standard for turn-based RPGs, perhaps barring dodging and parrying, the important aspect of this is that these core systems are simple enough to understand and powerful enough that players feel rewarded for using them fully to defeat their enemies. Again, tools like dodging, parrying, free aim, and basic attacks are universal. No matter what a character's unique mechanics may be, when an enemy starts swinging, everyone will be dodging and parrying to avoid damage the exact same way. You can get by on just these basics perfectly fine, and trust me, there are some very, very powerful basic attack builds in this game that are very straightforward to play, and you can figure these all out on your own. These core systems help offset the complexity of these characters' mechanics. You don't need to understand anything about Lune's stain system in order to simply parry and basic attack with her. Every player can understand these ideas, and their importance to the game is so great that it gives the design team breathing room to create interesting, nuanced character mechanics while still ensuring that every player will be able to use every character. These character-specific mechanics work as the cherry on top of a robust core gameplay loop. For some players, this may introduce a concern. The game does have a heavy emphasis on timed parries and dodges, which means it may be challenging for players who struggle with these timings or haven't played very many games like Dark Souls, where timed dodges and parries are very important. And while this is in some capacity true, the game does have a plethora of strong, viable defensive options and entire builds that do hold up even on the highest difficulty. Being able to consistently dodge and parry attacks is no doubt important, but it is by no means required. It's inevitable that all of us will be hit by some attacks. The game is just designed that way. And sometimes we'll have so much trouble with an enemy that it defeats us. Maybe there's some attacks that we just can't quite get the timing down. Well, that's something you can practice. Each attack has specific dodge and parry timings, and the more you see these attacks over and over, the more comfortable you'll get with dodging them. The game also has plenty of audio cues to help you get the timing right, and once you start recognizing these audio cues and recognizing these attack patterns, your dodge and parry timings will improve dramatically. If the game seems overwhelming from all the perfect timings and parries, just know that this is something you'll learn and practice over your time playing the game. Towards the start of my playthrough, I couldn't parry anything, and I was consistently messing up the perfect timing on Gustav's overcharge skill every time I had it ready to go. But this is an RPG. Your characters grow in strength and power over the course of your journey. You, the player, will as well as you get more comfortable and used to these timings. Your skill will also improve. On level up, each character will receive 3 attribute points and a skill point. And while the character attribute system may seem somewhat overwhelming and each character has a slew of skill options to choose from, the game makes sure to give you plenty of consumables called recoats that allow you to fully reset and rebuild a character's attributes or skills. So instead of worrying if your build might fall off later in the game, you can level what you want to now and change it later if you ever want to experiment or just try something new. Each character also has access to unique weapons with their own unique properties, and these can change your gameplay pretty drastically. To complement this are the Pictos and Lumina system, equipable passives that can eventually be shared across your entire party. There are tons of these hidden in the game, and you're able to freely equip, customize, and move them around your party whenever you want. There are dozens and dozens of ways to use these Pictos, weapons, and characters creatively to build the type of gameplay that you enjoy. And the game wants you to experiment and try things. You're never locked into your current character build. Again, if you find your current build just isn't working, you start getting bored, or maybe you just come across a unique weapon that looks crazy strong or just way more fun to use. A new build is just 1 or 2 recoats away. And some of these unique weapons you can find are legitimately gameplay defining. Many of them drastically change how a character plays or utilizes their unique mechanics or resource. Take Lune, for example. Her unique resource, her stain system, generates these elemental stains after she casts certain spells. While every spell has an effect attached to them, each spell can spend a certain type of stain to add an extra effect as well. Thermal Transfer, for example, will generate action points for Lune if used on a burning enemy. However, if you have 2 earth stains when you cast this spell, it will also give Lune an extra turn immediately. Now, these effects are no doubt very strong, but there are 2 major conditions needed to trigger them both. The enemy needs to be burning, usually from a fire spell, and Lune needs to have 2 earth stains, usually generated from earth spells. Lune will typically have to spend multiple turns building up to this effect. For example, starting with an earth spell, then next turn using a fire spell to apply burn, and then on the 3rd turn, a thermal transfer with 2 earth stains on our burning target. Powerful, but complicated, and a little slow to set up. However, we can use weapons and Pictos to circumvent this and access our powerful thermal transfer effect much more quickly. Take this unique weapon, for example. Its level 4 effect will generate a random stain for Lune every single free aim shot. Combined with the Burning Shot Pictos effect, which gives your free aim shots a 20% chance to apply burning, we can essentially gamble our way into a single burning plus double earth stain thermal transfer, giving Lune a ton of extra energy and a free turn to be able to cast just about any big spell she wants. My personal favorite probably being a Fire Rage buffed with 2 ice stains, which you can gamble your way into with some more free aim shots. Is this the best way to play Lune? No. And does it always work? God no. In fact, it usually doesn't. But it's unique and fun, and it's what I came up with given the tools the game gave to me. Other weapons and Pictos will give you additional options to create combos like this, or ones that are wildly different. There's genuinely a ton of options for you, and they get even more complex when you factor in other characters' synergies too. Many other characters are capable of applying the burning effect as well, and this thermal transfer ability is just one specific synergy. While there's always going to be optimized build guides out there for every character, the developers want you to experiment and try things yourself. They give you the options to find out what works for you. Of course, there is no shame in looking things up, but the satisfaction of finding your own unique build or team and watching it come together to take down a boss is awesome. A lot of thought went into the design of each character, their weapons, and the detailed Picto system that you can build each character around, and it shows. While each character is designed with their own specific mechanics, in practice, at least from my experience, nearly any character can deal damage, support, tank, or combo with anyone else, and the avenues by which you can create your own combos and synergies is truly impressive. This is good game design. All of this paired with variable difficulties that can be changed at any time in gameplay, and you have a game that lets you explore nuance and character depth to the degree that you want to, without alienating players who do not share the same interest in character building, or who may find certain characters too confusing or complicated. It is not afraid to challenge you, but that's all a part of the experience. This is a game that wants to be enjoyed. A game that wants us as players to engage with every nuanced aspect that we feel like, and never pressure us for more. It is eager to show off every layer of gameplay it can, instead of hiding it behind DLC, a future update, or a limited time pullable character. Instead of showing off how much fun you could be having, it lets you find that fun for yourself. Anytime you discover a new weapon, new Pictos, or even a new party member, you're more than able to respec, build into it how you want, and try it out. Video games are a form of art, whether it's through their visual design, storytelling themes, soundtracks, writing, characters. Much of us already know this to be true, but I think gameplay itself can be a form of art too. A means for players to express themselves, their builds, their reflexes, their knowledge, their patience, their determination, or most importantly, their experience. Each battle can be a story to tell, and no two people will experience them in the same way. As I said before, the game is not afraid to challenge you, but it is not unreasonable, and the means through which we all rise to the challenges presented will be different. This game is a canvas, painstakingly and lovingly crafted to provide us all the tools we could ever need. And we, as players, are the painters and paintresses, learning to find our way through the tools the game presents to us. Exploring, fighting, learning, adapting, growing, and refining our own style as we face encounter after encounter, each a unique challenge that asks something different of you. This is player expression, and this is how we create art through gameplay. There is so much more that I want to say about this game, but the scope of much of this goes beyond just one video. So for now, what I will say is that this is a game that absolutely deserves your attention. Thanks for watching, and remember that we fight for those who come after.